Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, and on this channel, I like to look at everything. So we don't just look at what goes on the surface. I do look at the spiritual blocks and shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes within your experiences. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. What I've always found is the person that's the most obsessive about the situation, the message usually tends to resonate with them because, again, these are shadow readings. So, shadow readings do tell you what the person's going to do, but also understand it tells you why a person's doing what they're doing. And the reason why is because a lot of times when we're dealing with a soulmate, we take on their energy. When we're dealing with someone that we care about and we want to have an open heart with, if that person doesn't treat us well, we tend to like look at ourselves like, well, what did I do? When a lot of times it has nothing to do with what you did. Psychological trauma is trauma that's caused because of experiences that play out that put you in a place of disempowerment, put you in a place of fear, put you in a place of limitation. And so we all have a war within ourselves. And then there's the grander one that's happening on the outside world, and that's the war on consciousness. And that's, again, how we choose to think, what we choose to think, why we choose to think them. Karmic themes are experiences that continue to play out, which keep us in the perception that we can't have, keep us feeling separated from the higher self, the God part of self. The God part of self is just made of unconditional love. That's all that it is. However, whenever we have negative emotions, fear, resentment, anything that's derived from fear, there's only two energies, love and fear. God is love. It's the it's the unconditional love that a lot of times we don't feel that we get within our relationships, which makes us feel separate from our fellow man and from our creator and actually from ourselves. So healing the effects of trauma it's an actual integration process. So the readings are a little bit different. Do I look and see what your person feels about you? Of course, because the ego wants to know that. We wouldn't want to watch the video. I mean, that part of ourselves is very strong. It's again how the mind says, no, this is who I am, this is what I believe that I am, and we get stuck in a fragmented part of ourselves, which actually isn't ourselves. Okay. So healing the effects of trauma will allow you to get financial abundance because, again, there's no separation from unconditional love. That's the universe, that's God, that's our fellow man. And so we have to become ourselves where there is shadows because shadow will be shame, victimization, or lower energies. So understanding that integration isn't just about getting the reading. I mean, the reading gives you awareness, but hopefully you'll take action within your life to empower yourself to change your life. Again, we all get stuck in stupid. It's a fear reactionary way of life a lot of times. But what happens is we become asleep. To awaken is to awaken to your full potentiality. And the way about doing that is to integrate these spiritual blocks, turning them into, your gifts. A lot of times, these shadows are not always wounds, they're gifts. So if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you must want to get a shadow reading because I'm not just going to tell you what you want to hear or what this person's going to do and satisfy the ego. No, I have to, from my own ethical standpoint, be able to know that it's of service, that it's always coming from the highest energy, and the highest energy is of unconditional love, and it's always derived from a Christ consciousness. All right, let's jump right on in and see what is the underlying energy of your situation. Fear. Again, there's only two energies, love and fear. And so when, fear doesn't just come about, we're taught we're taught, from the environment that we live in. So I believe that you're dealing with someone that grew up in an environment where they were told there wasn't enough money, there wasn't enough time. They were very negative. They grew up in very negative environment because of the way that their parents or their caregivers thought. And it was because of their experiences, their perceptions. So the problem is that you've also inherited this person, or you, again, take the message as it resonates. And I actually am feeling like it's both of you a little, I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, like goes to like, you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. That's the way the universe works. It's a spiritual language. So that, you know, you grew up in environment where like you saw over and over and over there wasn't enough money, there wasn't enough time, relationships were difficult, you felt inadequate, you felt shame, you felt victimized, all these lower energies. And so understand a lot of times we inherit the behaviorisms of what our great great grandparents like lived through, and they lived through experiences that were very limited. They lived from a very limited survival state consciousness, which is got to make enough money to put food on the table. We need to procreate to have more children. I don't know why. I mean, if everyone's miserable, but again, it was what they needed to do. They needed to be connected to things that were good, but they didn't form their own divinity, the connection with the divinity of self. The divinity of self is the God part of self that allows you to co-create, that allows you to create your heaven on earth. It only takes a mustard seed, God makes that multiply. And so when we're in fear, we're stuck in fear. And that's what I feel like your person was stuck in fear. And you were also stuck in fear. So there's this fear of everything having to do with life, because when we don't feel good about ourselves, well, then every situation that we go into, we're looking for problems unconsciously. And it's a survival mechanism. You know, the reptilian mind is that, you know, logical, analytical mind. It's what I see is what I know is what I believe is just the facts. But there's a spiritual energy, and that spiritual energy is of the universe. And it brings us the people, the situations, and the experiences that will change our mind and our heart if we're actually grounded enough. So I don't believe your person ever really like it ventured out into the world, experienced anything. And understand that doesn't mean that you always have to travel, but they didn't invest in things that stirred up their soul. See, when we invest in things that actually stir up our soul, it activates the third eye. We can actually see our vision. We can actually, it's when we're actually in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of the universe, which are all the same thing, that we're able to manifest and actually get this knowledge and wisdom, okay? And that's the only way to transmute negativity. Otherwise, relationships are all about attachment and not really about truth, passion. Passion is like we have common interests, that 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 there's more than just need. There's actually a desire, a passion. I mean, that's really what we're here for. We're here in the physical form to be an expression of unconditional love. And that can't be if we are intolerant of any little thing that goes wrong because we're looking for it, because we have fear of abandonment issues, but really we're abandoning ourselves. And so we're actually just stuck in this anxiety and worry, and you cannot pull love to you if you're in this low vibration of always feeling hopeless, because that's the only life that your person has been used to. It's just what they've seen, their life. So as I said, you're a magnet of whom what comes into your life. So you have to say, so why am I getting a person, bringing a person to me that has fear, and it's obviously, like I said, because you have fear. And you have to understand where that fear is coming from and how is it affecting your life? How are you perceiving that you're separate from God, separate from the universe? Again, spirit lives inside of us. We are to be the expression of love. And when we lose ourselves actually in that process, it's again, the path is unique and different from every single person. We find our gift of style. The gift of style is our own unique style. It's our creativity. It's what stirs up our soul. It's what means something to us. It's why we get up in the morning. Otherwise, we get stuck and lost in what happened, what did happen, what could have happened in the past. We are no longer present, and only in the now do you get divine guidance. Only in the now are you co-creating with the universe through what you think. So the inner child wounds are, again, neglect. Well, again, if our parents were always looking for problems, that there wasn't enough money, there wasn't enough time. Again, that was their reality due to their habits and their behaviorisms. But again, they were unconscious to this. Again, they were lost in what was going on in the outside world, when meanwhile the kingdom of heaven's inside of you, the kingdom of God's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. Role of David going up against Goliath. Again, losing ourselves in the actual flow of how the universe works. Instead, being stuck in neglect and not enough and problem, feeling like one's a problem. So this is inherited family ancestral karma. When we grow up in an environment where there really wasn't enough money, and there might have been sickness, and there might have been a lot of other limitations, that over time we've been conditioned to perceive only that narrative. So there's a real belief, and there's a real belief. The only thing that actually can transcend that is God, is love, is the energy of the universe. And so we don't experience that really from an outside source. We have to generate that ourselves. We have to activate it ourselves. And that's through this co-creation process, and then being able to connect on a deep and intimate level so that we can actually look past our own fears. Otherwise, we're stuck in that neglect, and the neglect is, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, shame, victimization, because I'm coming from a place of unconscious fear, which is no one wants me. Again, so then what happens is that we are no longer grounded. We are no longer grounded. In order to be grounded, that means you got to be disciplined. You gotta be consistent. You gotta be interactive. Sorry, my phone's gonna go off now. Decline. I really need to unlatch that, but again, different part of the brain. Anyway, so then we're not disciplined. And if we're not disciplined, that means we're not grounded. We're not doing what we need to consistently to actually see any change. Any change. And so keeping ourselves stuck in the past again, and keeping us connected to the behaviorisms and the habits, and a lot of times addictions, because this is where addictions come from, because you can't stay in a place of fear. It's just not possible. You can't. If you stay in a place of fear, it doesn't feel well. You're unconsciously conditioning your nervous system to live in survival mode, because every time you're dealing with a situation, it's going to, activate these things. Dogs barking, and I'm getting overstimulated. Should we keep going? Let's see. So this is the energy. We're going to put you on pause. Put you on pause. Do I need to put you on pause? No, I don't. I'm going to pass. because I might not be able to figure out how to get you off of a pause. So I just see that as a redirect, meaning new cards, new information, and the new information is the answer is no, the situation event is not unfolding at this time. So if you are wondering whether or not your person's coming back to you at this moment in time, the answer is no. And the reason why is because I feel like obviously the same situation karmic theme keeps happening within this person's life. So even though there is a connection, they don't trust themselves. And they don't trust themselves because of, again, everything that they've ever seen. Now, can a person heal? Yes, they can, but it's going to, they have to go through the dark night of the soul. They have to look at why the same things keep happening. They have to take responsibility, and that is not an easy process. It means that they have built a wall, the ego, the psyche has protected itself. So this is why. So part of it might even come across as, oh, they're being arrogant. They don't want to come back. Yeah, that's a lower derived emotion that's masked. It's really fear of, oh, I'm not going to be accepted again. So no, fuck it. I won't actually be, I don't care. Where it's really that person like already knows down deep inside. So they're like, I don't even know what to do. They actually feel like stuck and stupid right now. And that's what happens. It brings up a lot of shame. Again, at this time, things could go either way. So again, if you want to know whether or not this person's going to come back into your life, again, they want to, but I feel like they will continually talk themselves out of it. They will continually look for the problems because of what they have lived. So again, this has nothing to do with you. However, dealing with a person like this, and again, they can look very normal on the outside. They could actually make a lot of money. They could look good. They could smell good. They get everything that could be good about them from your perception. However, what we see is a lot of spiritual issues here. And those spiritual issues, dealing with you would feel like you were in a narcissistic relationship. You would feel like you were in a one-sided relationship because this person only can see themselves. When they continue to live the same karmic theme, it's like you build up a coding, and that coding isn't real, but it's what distorts our perceptions, and it just projects. And it projects like what needs to be healed. They're just not awake to it. And there's a part of first denial. And then after denial, there's fear and hopeless. And then the dark night of the soul, where we have to come to terms. It's a slow process. It's like the ego has built itself for survival because that's what it knows, that's what it sees. Again, and so it's all about the healing right now. That's what it is right now, to get soul restoration, growth, because this person knows damn well that you would never be in a relationship with them, even if you are spiritually blocked, which have these type of wounds. You still would say hell no, like, because I don't like the way that you are. However, you have to say, well, why did you attract this person? Because you're only having a relationship with the universe, which is God. So what is God trying to tell you? What is God? God obviously trying to tell you something, because he wouldn't bring this pretty little package to you. You know, a person that's like, like, a, has a lot of wounds. And I can laugh because at one time I had all these wounds. So I'd say a shit show, because that's what this is. It's a shit show. And it's because the person doesn't trust themselves anymore. However, dealing with a person like that will trigger the shit out of you. But if we're 100% healed and strong, they shouldn't be able to. And that's what Spirit's saying. Spirit's saying, you're me in just physical form. You're supposed to be an expression of me, unconditional love. What is that? Why was that person? Why did you attract that person? What do I need you to look at is what God is trying to say to you. We're like, I don't know. I'm a little afraid to ask. All right, let's see. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Loner. So again, these are inner child wounds. I don't really feel like loner is a bad thing, however. I feel like loner is a gift because it allows you to dive deep within inside of yourself. It allows you to think on your own. It allows you to be strong within yourself. So I believe that you are someone that's strong within yourself. But you needed to see that. You needed to be in the right environment. I don't believe your environment allowed you to do this, Virgo, for a very long time. So you didn't know who you were. And so there's only two energies, love and fear, and not knowing who you are. God says, fail. You're me in physical form. It's like if you say that you're like, don't know, it's again, I actually take that as an insult. It's again because you're here to be the expression of me. You're here to create your heaven on earth. You're here to live your passion. Christ died for your passion for life. That's why you're here. Because again, that physical touch, and I associate that with emotional. There was no emotional support. So when there's no emotional support, and if you were a highly sensitive person, well, then you were told continually that you're not important. Your feelings don't matter. And if your feelings don't matter, then you're going to think, well, I guess my feelings don't matter. And live from that lower consciousness where you're always compensating for everybody else's feelings and no one's looking out for you. So this person came into your life and they were actually not capable. It's not that they didn't want to. So spirit saying it's again, the illusion is that they didn't want to, but that was the mask. There's feelings there. It's just they would have to change, they'd have to surrender their ego. And they're battling with that. However, it's again, I brought this person into your life to again show you that emotionally, are you giving yourself what you need, or are you looking for that from outside of yourself? And so, which is what happens. When we don't get it unconsciously, we look for it to obtain it through outside things. And so those things are counterfeit a lot of times. And then sometimes they give us a yay for like a minute, but I mean, it's not going to be consistent enough. And so life will then look like a roller coaster. Hey, it's good sometimes and it's shit other times, and it's good sometimes. And we're waiting for the shoe to drop instead of just going with the flow of the universe, because the universe actually has a flow and it's energy. It's all about the energy again, and bringing you back to, I believe, like innocence. Like now, I also believe that there is an innocence to you, and that could have been the trauma that was bad that kept you asleep. So it didn't awaken you to how the world can be. And so when we're interactive in the world and we're going to school and we're really diving deep into like hobbies and interests and we're connecting to different people, well, their energy tends to rub off on us. We can tend to perceive things, and I don't believe that happened. So there is your gift is an innocence, but people could also see that innocence. So we always end off by asking spirit, well, again, what now I feel like shit. No, I'm only kidding. Like that I was just attracted to this person, or this person was attracted to me. What energy can I put in and integrate to make myself feel better? Well, let's find out. What are we supposed to know? And Spirit always reminds us that Earth is not heaven. We're down here to learn. We're learn by our experiences and the people that come into our life, the people that touch our life, the people that show us something different, the people that inspire us to make the changes in our life that we need to make changes. Positive thinking, like Spirit saying, keep your mind positive. It's again, we see what we look for. Don't go into situations looking for a problem. My life is full of small patches of light, meaning that everybody has problems, but a lot of everyone has places in their life that they can focus on that bring them happiness, bring them joy. Don't focus on things that are going to bring you down. You don't have control over. I direct my thoughts to what brings me well being. I place what is weighty for me into the hands of the universe. Little by little, the light awakens in my being and I find serenity. So you put your hands in the universe, which is God, again, because God is ubiquitous, an energy, and you let it go and you do your best and you focus on what needs to be. And that might seem like really simple energy, but it's not if you grew up and were conditioned in an environment to, survive. So you may need to recondition your nervous system. We can do this through my psychic soul healing coaching program. You have the inner child healing, the shadow healing, the reparenting, and all the healing modalities to heal the effects of psychological trauma, emotional trauma. And you would need to do the exercises in it on your own to incorporate the physical. But you will never heal until you actually go through the process and see yourself differently, see the situation differently. Staying stuck in a karmic theme of limitation is actually a choice at this stage of the game. We've come to a place within our evolution that healing the spirit is an essential part of life. It, the world will tell you who you are, but really we're not supposed to listen to the world. We're supposed to listen to our higher self, that God part of self, that part of ourself that's continually in a place of peace, of love, of unconditional love. And I'm going to leave that there. If you resonated with this style type of reading, let me know. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.